your questions.
Thank you. And as I've mentioned, I have serious concerns that your tenure as NTIA administrator has shown a pattern of decision-making ranging from irresponsible to outright unlawful. And the common thread that ties it all together is a dereliction of your duty to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer dollars. For instance, the bipartisan infrastructure law specifically prioritizes broadband technologies in the BEAD program that are the most reliable, scalable, and future-proof, meaning that they will not become outdated or obsolete in the near future, but instead, you force states to prioritize the cheapest bids, regardless of a technology's scalability or longevity. And it's difficult to ignore the growing list of similarities between your new BEAD program and the failed Trump Rural Digital Opportunity Fund program. Both incentivize a race to the bottom, fraught with numerous provider defaults, and open the door to waste, fraud, and abuse. And worse, by imposing arbitrary per-location price caps, you fail to accurately reflect the actual cost to serve the rural, low-density locations that are the specific target of the BEAD program. And the decision to ignore the law has redirected valuable funding away from infrastructure that would last for decades to subsidies instead for Elon Musk's satellite service, which we know faces affordability, reliability, and spectrum capacity constraints, and is widely more expensive for customers in the long run. Yet you have issued no guidance on how they are supposed to ensure that SpaceX does, in fact, have the capacity to serve every location they've been awarded. So let me ask Administrator Roth, what evidence do you have to suggest that LEO broadband will be able to meet the law's performance requirements at all times for the entirety of the locations it has been awarded?
I agree that the law is what should govern our decisions, and that's exactly what we've done by restoring technology neutrality in the program.
But do you have any evidence to suggest that LEO broadband will be able to meet the law's performance requirements?
So maybe I could just, just to explain, rather than requiring a tech mandate on the states, we enabled the states to determine which technologies would work in different areas, given that we have diverse conditions across the country. And that's, Congress wrote the law in that manner. Congress set out performance requirements.
I understand, but look, let me ask you this. In order to verify compliance with the law, will NTIA publicly release the results of BEAD subgrantee speed and performance testing, or direct the states to publish performance testing results? That's a way for us to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's in our rules.
You will do that.
Provider is required to abide by our performance.
No, I'm asking you if you'll publicly release the results of the BEAD subgrantee speed and performance testing, or direct the states to publish performance testing results. That's a specific question. Yes or no?
Yes, aggregated data
All right,
is
I appreciate it, because I do believe transparency is important to verify compliance with the law. I'm also concerned that you've restricted states' ability to hold delinquent providers accountable or penalize subgrant recipients for failing to deploy or reserve capacity. And I think it's critical that we have some level of insight and accountability into the BEAD program going forward. So NTIA's semi-annual report requirements for the BEAD program mandate that states submit detailed progress reports every 6 months. And this report is designed to track progress across the various stages of the BEAD grant rollout. So my last question is, Administrator, will you commit to publishing these semi-annual reports online while protecting confidential information, just as NTIA did for the Broadband Technology Opportunity Program? Again, specific question, will you commit to publish these semi-annual reports online? I understand there's some certain confidential information, but that it would not be included, but will you agree to publish those?
Yes, all right,
I appreciate it.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I wrote in a November 2025 letter to you that good stewardship of taxpayer dollars is as much about the quality and value of the dollars spent as it is about the bottom line. So I am concerned about, these investments, being made, at the cheapest level as opposed to what I consider quality, and I think that that's wrong. But I appreciate your responses today, and we'll follow up. Thank you, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate that. You look like you wanted to say something. I'll give you a few seconds to answer that if you'd like.
I would just say that we agree we want every American to have high-quality broadband service. Our view is that performance is the gold standard, not any particular technology. That's how Congress wrote the law, and Congress was smart to write that. The bipartisan Congress was smart to write the law like that, given incredible innovation.
I don't think that's what you're doing, but I appreciate your responses today because I think we'll have some transparency, hopefully, based on your responses. So thank you, Mr.
Thank you. The gentleman's time has expired. Chair, and I'll recognize the Vice Chair of the full committee, Representative from Georgia, Mr. Allen, for 5 minutes for your questions.